1:47 on a Wednesday. We're going back into St. Paul on 61. We'll kind of update you on what we've been up to. Let me try to pull up this.
Computer, if you like. Passing by a failing golf course here. I actually used to golf in a golf league there when I was a kid.
Let's see. It's not much impending right now. We've had a few sightings of some unreported stolens. The Kias and Hyundais are still going active, but if you haven't seen the news, it looks like they're trying to come out with a fix for that. So if you own one of those vehicles, check out, it's either, I don't know which station it was, but check one of the main channels here, the Metro, and they're putting out the info of what vehicles they're working on first. So
yeah, I see CNN was reporting on that. I bet you a lot of national news agencies are reporting on it because it is a nationwide problem. I also saw that a couple of major insurance agencies have completely stopped being willing to insure those vehicles due to the ongoing problem. I'm kind of surprised it took this long.
Yeah. I mean, I used to own quite a few. My wife and I, we owned a few Hyundais. Awesome cars. They're really affordable for the quality you get, but obviously there is a oversight in one aspect of the vehicle, certain models. So let's see. As I said before, we've had sightings throughout. If you see a vehicle in your neighborhood with a broken rear window, that'd be an appropriate time to call. Rather us check it out. That's usually a sign that something's not right with that vehicle. And granted, you do have people who can't afford to fix them as always, but that's what we can run the plate and check it.
Again, don't ever be afraid to call in on suspicious activity going on in your neighborhood. So these recent sightings that we've had were just that. They were calls on vehicles that seem to be circling neighborhoods, and lo and behold, there were Hyundais with broken out windows, and they ended up being confirmed stolen vehicles. So it's huge in getting us to be able to respond to the appropriate area and hopefully tracking down these vehicles and apprehending the offenders and getting the vehicles back to their owners. And it's been all over. I don't care where you live. If you live anywhere in the metro area and you see this going on, chances are your gut is right and something's not right.
As always, ask any questions. We'd be more than happy to answer. Even if it's not carjacking, auto theft related, anything law enforcement wise, we'd be happy to try to answer the question or find the answer for you. Going on. As you see, the weather's getting nicer. We no longer have ice creating divots in the road. Might be a little easier to get some work done today.
Alleyways are still pretty brutal. Yesterday was some of the worst conditions I've ever worked in with the constant rain and just sheer glare ice everywhere. It made it really hard to navigate any alleyways or side streets, but hopefully we're at the end of that and we're coming up on spring here and we can have some window down weather and just nice, enjoyable, comfortable weather.
Just if you weren't on when we first started, you're with Thomas and Kyle. We've ridden once together before, and we'll see what we come up with today. Nothing going on right now. You can turn the radio up a little bit.
So for those of you in the St. Paul and metro area, I'm sure you're at least somewhat aware of the tragic death of a Harding High School student recently, and
31352.
It's just another ongoing incident of very tragic occurrences lately between me and particularly. I responded to the shooting of Officer Ryan Sheik in White Bear. We had the shooting of a teen kid at Jimmy Lee Rec Center a couple weeks ago, and now this. It's been a pretty stressful and unfortunate few weeks for us here. I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately we had one this weekend too. Was he 16?
Yeah, at the rec center.
Yeah. And the one previously, those two are linked. So, yeah, it's unfortunate to see young kids what's going on right now. But you know, granted, we deal with a lot of kids, but we meet a lot of good kids as well. You know, it's just unfortunately it's a fad. It's not just us; it's the nation dealing with all the stolen vehicles. But a lot of bright, smart kids that could be successful, and unfortunately they just need a little guidance. And
yeah,
it's different for every kid. There's not a solve all for each kid. Each kid's going to respond differently to how that guidance is given. So,
especially who it's given from, too. We do everything we can, but the truth of the matter is, as law enforcement officers, we can only get through to these kids as much as they will let us. So, we've obviously established some other means to try to be navigators and ambassadors and stuff, and hopefully they can be a little more successful in breaking down those barriers than we are. But
so obviously, just like last year, as the weather gets nicer, we kind of brace for more activity. That just kind of comes with the territory. A little easier to go out and steal cars, but hopefully that's not the case. But
your caller, the PD reference the noise service
you never really truly, you witness these kids making their unfortunate and poor decisions, but you never really expect. And you say to yourself, man, they're going down a wrong path and something bad's gonna happen, but you never really truly. You never truly prepare for these types of things to happen mentally, And then all of a sudden it does, and it's a real shock to the conscious. I remember sitting down and having long, hard talks with the victim of that stabbing. Let's go.
probably a little late at this point. What'd you see? I'll tell you. Just checking area. Checking area. Well, I see a lot of people checking in from a lot of areas. See a few mentioning Sauk Center. I want to give a shout out to there. My grandpa had a cabin up on Big Sauk for, I don't know, it had been 20, 30 years. Pretty much my whole childhood. Awesome area up there. It's nice. Nice that you got everything in town, but once you get out to the lake, it's a little off the beaten path. So, nice to see people checking in.
Go ahead, 1356.
As far as what?
Sorry, 234 Tango. You can cancel.
Recent updates, proactively patrolling, following up on kids, and try to get out and recovering them.
I think it's, I don't have the numbers in front of me or anything, but I think it's safe to say the numbers did dip a little bit when we were in the thick of the January and February winter with a single digit. Now for the couple of days that we've hit 40, it's starting to pick up again. We've been getting a lot more calls on these erratic drivers with Hyundais full of teenagers and stuff like that. So I think it's about time to batten down the hatches and get ready for a busy spring and summer time.
6 on that, I didn't copy, but I'm at 36 McKnight. I just need a stall on the right shoulder. There's debris in the lane, and now a crash behind it. North 35 Beetle of Canada. Okay, I'll be in route. 1350.
Hey, it's saying it's frozen. What do you see on your end?
Clear. Parents gonna come get the student.
All right, I'm just trying to... Okay, perfect. Thank you. Bye. Well, all right, we're back. Sorry. Had to call this world's smartest man. Hopefully we got it figured out. So there's probably a couple minute gap they didn't hear us. We were talking to ourselves. Not frozen now. I'm going to go back. Someone asked, have we recovered any ghost guns off the street? We are recovering those. Seen a lot more of them. We recovered one. We talked about it a little bit 2 to 3 weeks ago. We recovered one off a juvenile that had a switch on it. That was a ghost gun. Yeah, I mean those are tough because they're technically untrackable, and the uptick into the amount we're seeing is pretty huge. So anytime we can get one of those off the street is better. Any gun, illegal gun off the street is the goal. So ghost gun or not.
When it comes to combating gun violence, we do everything we can to try and get these guns off the street, and oftentimes it feels like just a drop in the bucket, but it's definitely a battle worth fighting. Because Lord knows we take these guns off these offenders, and the second they get back out and they're back out into the public eye, they get a hold of some brand new ones, but it's just the way it is.
169 Advanced Lake
What's a
Road.
ghost gun? Essentially, it's a gun that's made with the idea that it doesn't have any identifier, a serial number, or of the sorts. All guns have to have some type of serial number that makes it trackable, traceable. So when you buy one, generally you go to the store, you fill out all the information, your permit to purchase, and that dealership takes down the gun's info, and it's under you. These guns are essentially, none of that's put onto the gun. They've cracked down on it, but they're still out there, because when they were being purchased, no one thought about it until later. So I know it's a big thing for the feds. It's also a big thing for us, but like Kyle said, we just do what we can to take illegal guns off the street.
That you bought.
I'll be guilty.
All right.
1655.
What'd you see?
Let's take a look at this one.
Nice. 4204.
So what's today? Oh, so someone did mention it. I wanted to verify it before talking about it. So it does look like there is the officer from White Bear Lake who was shot several weeks back. Looks like there's a fundraiser, 2 White Bear Lake McDonald's locations today from 4:30 to 9:30, where proceeds will go to the benefit of him and his family. The one off 4950 Highway 61, which is next to Rudy's in White Bear Lake, and then 2070 County Road East by the high school. So if you're local, you wanna try to contribute to that. At those 2 locations.
New message. New message.
They're stolen. Kind of weird, right?
Very suspicious. Yeah, but they can be with reporting.
Report it. Because when they were...
Do you want to maybe just relay that? Oh, I didn't get the vehicle. Maybe just want to kick that number to unit and have them reach out to you. I'll do one more roll by and try and get the vehicle number that's on the top right.
I'll send that on. We'll carry on until get info.
Monarch Way, 911, open line, nothing heard,
All right.
5 meters, can't pull it back.
Very sporadic signal.
We really haven't had much luck on the east side with their cell phone signal, apparently.
St. Paul ever really clean up the side streets? Yeah, I mean, they do the best they can. I mean, I imagine they focus on the main streets first. But when you get big snowstorms and you only have so many trucks out, you just get that buildup on the side roads, and it's kind of hard to get rid of it once it's all built up. But I think the roads are actually really nice compared to how it's been.
Yeah.
What else is new, Kyle? We could update.
It all just blends together, especially work. Wife and I did take the kids to the St. Paul Children's Museum there in downtown last weekend. I gotta say, if you have small kids around the age of 2, or I mean a variety of ages, I would highly, highly recommend it. It was quite awesome. They actually have their own designated parking ramp, so you don't have to worry about street parking or weather or anything like that. You get your own designated parking ramp, and there's direct skyway access right to the Children's Museum there, and it's just all very well thought out. They seem to kind of think of everything when it comes to families going there, and it's a pretty sweet experience. The kid had a blast, I'll tell you that much. It's about
All season.
well, that too.
Oh.
Construction season. We're about to have to patch up the countless potholes that are in this roads, and detours, no close signs, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is definitely a season here in Minnesota. Road construction.
It doesn't make our job any easier. All in the fair, still haven't. Yeah.
New message. New message.
297. I'm sorry, go again?
That's
Have a good night, Courtney.
nothing of note.
New message.
So, not much activity going on right now. Try to turn up the radio when something does, but it's nice just to be out with the sun shining.
Yeah, I'm ready for patio season and grilling season. Just about everything outside you can possibly do.
Metro 4560 cars for a possible vehicle fire, westbound 694 Matterhorn.
KBR 312.
1411.
New message. New message. New message. New message.
Transport from my location to the LEC, starting where I live 6-8, adult male.
All right, on White Bear Ave,
New message.
heading towards Sunray. Yeah, I don't have much to update as far as crime. Obviously, you guys have seen the news. You know, the few tragic incidents that have happened in St. Paul. I know that's been touched on. We're not going to rehash that.
Did have another SWAT call out the other night. Domestic assault suspect with other felony warrants. It was actually a DOC fugitive. Assaulted his ex-girlfriend and started to barricade himself inside an apartment and threatened to burn the entire apartment building down. So SWAT team did end up getting involved in that, and fortunately we were able to once again carry out the plan just exactly how we we practice and train and achieve the end result that we're aiming for, where we ended up forcing the subject to comply with gas, less lethal gas munitions, and came out and surrendered, and we got him in custody, and that was a good result. It was a cold night, for sure. Fortunately, most of our operators were either sitting inside of armor or inside a shelter somewhere. So it kind of worked out so we didn't have to sit outside in the elements too much.
Yeah, it was an awesome job. A lot of different departments were there. You guys did good work. I can't say. Chad and I, we're on perimeter in our car, nice and warm. Get some tips from Mark. Decreasing crime. So, Kia Boy's gone yet or not? It's not necessarily... How do I describe Kia Boys? It's more of an idea. It started off as a social media. A lot of kids then copycat it and start making posts about it. You know, we deal with a lot of different kids, and just referring to them as Kia Boys isn't necessarily right. It's best way to describe that is an idea, right? It became a social media craze, and all these kids ran with it. Just like you hear all those dance crazes or fads,
Planking and just all that stuff. Unfortunately, this is a criminal fad. But we haven't really had a specific group of kids really claiming to be part of this group. We hear it thrown around and out there and stuff, but when it comes to, you know, gang identification or what's the other term? Identifiable group information. Kia Boys was never really. Where is that?
That's over off the road.
I don't know.
So, yeah, we don't use Kia Boy. It can be a violent fad because a lot of it's kids driving, right? And it's people, who aren't supposed to drive, don't have a driver's license, and sometimes who are not big enough to even
These kids are
drive.
12, 13 years old, you know?
So just having them on the road makes it dangerous, but I'd like to think law enforcement as a whole is making an impact on it.
Definitely.
It's still going, though. But we do our best as we can, as we spot them. So, best thing we can do is as we spot these cars, if they're on the side of the road, recover them, get them off the road. Unfortunately, that just then causes them to go steal another. So, it's kind of like a cycle right now. Do we think carjackings will pick up when Kia and Hyundais fix the issue? The hope would be no.
Yeah, but it is very possible.
It is possible. That is a huge jump for some of these kids. A lot of it's just joyriding, we see, but you do have an element that are committing violent crimes with these stolen Kias and Hyundais, but I always try to think on the brighter side, and if that does jump, we'll deal with it. Riding with Kyle and Thomas with carjacking. I see that's getting asked a lot. We'll kind of try to let you know every so often. I know ours says Cat 3 on it. Carjacking is a felony. It's technically not a carjacking statute. It's just a term we use when a vehicle is taken with force. But it's actually not a Minnesota statute as it stands right now.
It's considered an armed robbery.
Correct. That is a felony. And then you have different levels of a carjacking. You can have a strong armed, which is just using force, pushing someone, pulling them out of a car, using your fist to take that car by force. And then we obviously have the armed carjackings, where a gun or a weapon is used and involved.
Whether it's implied or actually physically seen.
And that helps a lot with that info is really pertinent to us with how we respond, right? If the gun is seen, that's going to kind of, up our level of response.
EFC 335 or 355. B is a boy.
Group of juveniles making their way towards the vertical tower. Right that way as soon as they quit this.
New message. New message.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd like to say the carjackings have died down over on this side of the river. They are still, seems almost daily in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But obviously, as said before, if there's one over here in Ramsey County, we're going to deploy to it. And generally, even if it's after hours, a lot of us kind of have an understanding. We're going to try to get as many bodies out on the street looking for that car.
Can't help but feel for these rideshare employees working for Uber and Lyft. It seems very often that these carjackers will simply order themselves an Uber or a Lyft, and then once the driver comes up, they carjack them. Becoming an increasingly dangerous job, and we've actually picked up some targets of ours catching Ubers as general passengers.
Do we think they prey on the weak?
They definitely pick their spots. They pick their victims.
They watch. They definitely case certain cars. Again, we've talked about before, they're looking for people who aren't paying attention. I hate to say it, we see it a lot of times where people have kids with them or are distracted. They're on their phone. A lot of the times you hear back from victims, it's, I was in my car, I was running, I was looking down at my phone, waiting for someone to come out of the store, right? They're not paying attention. They pick up on that. These people aren't, they're not looking at going after a grown man or person who's aware of their surroundings. So that's why I always say, in and out of stores, I preach it to my wife. If you're going out after, especially in dusk hours, just make sure you're paying attention, looking everywhere. Don't get lost in the shuffle of trying to get the kids in the car. It's a lot to deal with, but it's unfortunately a day and age you got to pay attention, because people are out there looking to take advantage of individuals, and it's sad that we got to think that way, but
Kilo Alpha X-ray 257, that's Earl and Burn, just stopped here.
Copy. Start.
347.
Copy. 822D, what's here?
$37.
Copy.
bait cars. Someone wants to know if we use bait cars. I know they're used throughout Ramsey County by other departments. We don't utilize them. They're not a bad tool. A lot of departments, it takes a different response for a bait car. We've gotten pretty good at proactively patrolling the streets and going to the problem areas. I feel like that's been our biggest bang for our buck right now.
Honestly, there's so many already occupied stolens rolling around the St. Paul area that, for us to simply set out a bait car and establish resources and sit on it for a while, we just have a little bit more productive use of our time. And God forbid we set up a bait car and we're all sitting on it, then all of a sudden a fresh carjacking takes place, which obviously takes priority over something like that, and then we go to mobilize for the carjacking, and then our bait car gets stolen or something like that. It's just, there's a lot of logistics that go into it that make it a little bit more complicated, and the juice isn't quite worth the squeeze, so to speak, when we've got so much other activity going on anyway as it is. So
we appreciate the questions. We'd much rather talk about things you guys are interested in.
grab this 10.
Yep.
New message. New message.
Clear.
Okay.
155.
Crusoe, Delta Charlie 823. And Foxtrot Papa X-ray 841.
I copy on 1454.
Thanks. Someone liked your juice wasn't worth the squeeze comment.
I forget where I got that from. I got that from somewhere, obviously.
$56 of the Interior arrived, ending mileage 77.
No, I haven't. Have you ever testified in the Minnesota House or Senate?
No.
That's outside of our job experiences, luckily. Luckily, just being the deputy level, we get to deal with the everyday street crimes and things like that. Just
Yeah, it's a little above our pay grade. I mean, unfortunately, our experience is definitely applicable to all of that, but us little peons don't really have, our voices aren't necessarily ones that want to be heard.
I think we like it that way, though.
Yeah.
Leave that fight up to other people. And there's a lot of other people doing a good job at that fight, so that's all. We'll leave it at that.
Politics is stressful, and I don't really have anything to do with it. So, believe me, we've had very in-depth discussions about the truth about what's going on out here and the change that needs to happen at really high levels with people in those types of positions and stuff like that. But man, to get systemic change to take place is definitely it's a very slow, difficult process that you really just kind of have to be patient with, unfortunately. It's like, I feel like it's moving mountains.
It can be. We ever ride with a K9? Not specifically, but our unit has one now. So he's out there. He's out there today. When I Toyota rail training officers, that was so when you're training, because depending on the dog's temperament, you could have a dog barking nonstop in your ear.
New message. New message.
356, you call.
Make sure you copy the
New message. That's when we're running.
So our called EMS and belongs to the registered owner of that vehicle. Are they valid? Do they have any warrants?
He's got a counselor come up with early person theft, felony warrant for terroristic threats. St. Maryland and Sullivan, Great Caddy. I'll let apprehension know.
see if the RO has any cops alerts. With that being said, so we get a number of messages anytime we run a plate through our computer-aided dispatch, and that's what you're hearing. If you're in my Explorer, you'd be hearing a lot more noises with the automatic license plate reader. It a little, I don't know how to describe it, a little sound effect that it makes every time it picks up a license plate. So,
do U.S. Sheriff deputies feel like what you see on the street gets heard up above the chains? I think you guys see it firsthand. Our top boss, Sheriff Fletcher, is on the streets with us. He sees it firsthand. So I think that goes without saying, yes.
He definitely does a good job of voicing the truth about what's going on out here and what needs to happen at the county board meetings and number of press conferences and whatnot.
We all love working for him. It's a good atmosphere down here, so. And a lot of the times he's on the street more than we are.
Yeah. You don't see that often from an officer in command.
It's we do know Mike Martin, Undersheriff Mike Martin, is beating us to the punch and finding stuff while he's live.
Yeah.
We did ask him for a training session, so hopefully that's coming soon. All jokes aside, he's obviously been doing this a long time and he's got a nose for things, so. One person asked, how do you build relationships in areas that don't necessarily trust authority? I think that, how I handle that, it's every interaction with the public. I just treat everybody with respect. And hopefully that is what my partners do as well, which I know they do. We pride ourselves on treating everybody respectfully. Even if someone's getting arrested, you can do it in a respectful manner. So, that's the biggest impact I think we can have.
Yeah, that's really what it is boiled down to, is respect and professionalism. That's what it all comes down to. That's all we really can do, and it's not something that's really going to be mended overnight by any means. And honestly, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there where their perspective on police is never going to change no matter what, but it's all we can really do on our end, right? It's just go out there and do the job we got to do and handle ourselves as professionally and respectfully as possible and just carry on and move forward.
398. Good. 1431.
Let's see. One person wants to know, how long have you been a deputy for, Kyle?
Coming up on 6 years. Can't believe it's only 6 years. It feels like a lifetime. And the thought of having roughly 24 years left in my career,
328, 1431.
that sure puts things into an interesting perspective.
It does. Many
jurisdictions, man, that's still a fresh rookie, Pretty incredible that we get to have the opportunity to be a part of a violent crime unit like the CAT team at only a few years of experience. But I like to think
What was your location?
we've worked really hard to get to this point, and I think we're doing an all right job at it.
We're learning every day.
Absolutely. This is certainly a challenging task in just about every facet.
Here.
What do you say we float to a different area of the city?
That works. Let's check out the roads somewhere else.
Yeah, we've been hitting the east side pretty hard.
Roger, thank
We'll make our way west a little bit.
1432. I'm looking DOA, put me back in my accident and change it from a hit and run to an actual just accident.
Tell a funny story about yourself. Well, funny story. When you guys asked about riding with a canine, when I was in training, one of my training officers, I won't name his name. I know not everyone likes their name out there, but he had a canine, and I learned a quick lesson that you do not put things near the cage when the cage is accessible. We essentially responded to a call where an individual had warrants known to us. I decided to leave my jacket propped up on the headrest. And a half hour later, we come back, and my jacket is halfway through the cage, torn into probably 1,000 pieces. And now I got that as a memento for myself on what not to do. He thought it was funny. Kind of blame him. He didn't give me forewarning, right? I'm a new officer. I'm stressed out about it as it is. And he thought that was good humor. But the county bought me a new jacket, so it all ended well.
I think everybody's gonna find that funny, except for the owner of that jacket.
No, it was. I laugh at it now. At the time, I did, because I had to use one of our retired now sergeant's old jackets. Didn't fit.
Was it a leather one?
No, it's one of those old puffy ones.
On a rare occasion, you'll spot an old classic jacket of the sheriff's office. Got these old classic black leather jackets. I don't know if any of them are really in use anymore. We got a lot of fresh deputies on the department now, and not so many guys with 20 plus years on. But
Chad in our new unit.
Yes,
you've met him.
One.
He's got his. Well, both his mom and dad were a deputy. I don't know whose jacket it is, but I know he's got his mom's old badge. So that's actually pretty cool. He's probably got one of the cooler looking badges.
Yeah.
Because it's got that years of experience written all over it, wear and tear. So I know he's pretty proud of that as well too.
You really gotta have a certain style and swagger to rock a black leather jacket like that, though. I will be the first to admit that I don't have it, so I'm not gonna go out of my element and try to be cool.
No.
So I'll leave that to the dudes with the cool style.
Most of the CAT team deputies are parents. Someone asked that. We've talked about it before. We are all fathers for the most part. Myself, you, Kill, Chad. We got a bunch of new babies in the unit. I know you guys it's been referred to as kittens of the CAT team. We got a few of them around. I actually saw a funny picture on one of the backseater pages yesterday. It was I don't know what department it was, but they had like
I did see that.
12 babies in like a 6-month period, and they took a picture with all the babies. That was definitely cuteness overload. I'd like to think we could top that with your guys' beautiful baby girls, and my the one boy out of the group that was born. But I know most of my partners pride themselves in being dads, being parents.
263.
10-7. Have a night.
Good night. 1436.
It's definitely game changing in your perspective out here and how you handle things. Remember when I was first a street cop and I didn't have any kids, and there's definitely a little bit more fearlessness, if you will, going out there and handling these calls and entering buildings and whatnot. And now that I got a couple little ones, responding to these SWAT calls and interdicting with these stolen vehicles with offenders known to have firearms, it definitely changes things quite a bit. But this is what I do. This is what we do.
We primarily do carjacking, and auto thefts, anything dealing with stolen vehicles, which obviously you guys have heard includes a lot of weapons, a lot of guns.
Metro 4550 car.
But if we're out
debris,
like today and there's a a violent crime or a call that we could be assistance of, we'll go. But generally we try to focus on the stolen vehicles and carjacking aspect. But as you've seen, we back up a lot of departments if they're requesting help. So
yeah, any critical incident that we can be helpful in, we like to try and hop in there and offer our services. We got just about every tool, resource imaginable that law enforcement could have, so we'll come in and offer those. Heading up Classic Rice Street. Mama's Pizza coming up on here on our left. Did you ever go to Mama's Pizza back in the day?
yeah, I've been there.
I remember going as a little kid. They had the tiny little box televisions that were black and white. You threw a couple quarters in them and you could watch some cable TV on them. I thought it was so cool. And
Kyle, how old are you?
I am 32, about to be 33 in May.
What was the question? Someone guessed around 30.
Good call. Although as a partial Valentine's Day gift to my wife, who was always complaining about my beard over the winter, I thought it could be a thoughtful gift for me to go ahead and shave my facial hair, which I'm not too fond of, but that's what she wants, so I went ahead and did that for her, and so now I might look like I'm about 20. I feel like I'm 20 at least. With a clean shaven face.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good.
251.
Do our spouses watch us when we're on live? Mine does, because she just makes sure I don't say anything stupid. So she will text me if I start to ramble, because I'm known to do that.
I don't know if it's to make sure you don't say anything. It's to make sure that she knows about it, hears about it, and can give you some grief about it afterward.
Oh, no. My goal is not... Our goal is to look as bright as possible. So, it is hard, though. As I said before, Bob and Pat have got this thing down to a science. I think they were meant to do something other than law enforcement, because they definitely can keep a conversation going.
4-6 got
61 and where? Lee Street? No, EE. Will do. 4241.
We are not assigned a place to patrol. We're the sheriff's office. We do have contract cities that are patrol aspect of our department, primarily patrols, but as far as the CAT team, anything in Ramsey County involving a stolen or carjacked vehicle, we're going to respond to. So obviously St. Paul, we're down here a lot more often. We're a lot of the stolen spotted, but anywhere in Ramsey County. Looks like your mom says hi, Kyle.
Hi, Mom.
Copy.
On the area.
So, someone states talk to the teens about our jobs. That's actually Kyle's aspect of the CAT team. he does outreach for the individuals that we run into, and
High School.
it's definitely a focus of ours, right? If we could deter one kid from ever getting in a stolen vehicle again, that's a success. But that's the ultimate goal, to keep these kids out of these cars. So,
and especially escalating to the point of carrying guns and deadly weapons. We see these kids graduate, so to speak, to that so often, and that's really what we're out here trying to do.
That's where they're brought to. They're currently at the Johnson.
we are driving the speed limit today. We're just a little higher off the ground than normal.
466.
I'm just gonna come to the conclusion that when we're out, everyone stops driving the stolen cars.
Yeah.
Because
I think we're snake bit a little bit. Especially when we're going live or we've got ride-alongs or
9 charges a white
anything like that.
wheeler with a trailer. Unknown state, D28 of 27119 Charles. Vehicle seen swerving over lane lines, traveling at high speeds. Information at 1444.
a lot of driving complaints on the freeways today.
I'll be on another one, 2334.
Let's turn the radio. I don't think they sneak around us. Someone says they sneak around us, but Mike finds them. We'll tell Mike that, but no, it's definitely a hit or miss game, right? It's a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill and info and knowing where to go, but it's just like anything, just be in the areas, be proactively looking, and we eventually find them.
This is definitely a game that requires a lot of patience. Of course, how many times do we roll around for hours on end? Not much to show for it, and then all of a sudden, right before we're about to call it a day, something pops and then we end up getting stuck working the call for several hours, longer than we expected working, but it's okay.
Yeah, see, I like this reference. Someone says, sometimes you strike out. Even the great hitters in baseball strike out.
Absolutely true, but I'll tell you right now, we're going down swinging, that's for sure. We're not getting caught looking, so to speak.
Transferring adult female to 1572 Sergeant.
We'll tell you what, Kias and Hyundais have become the new Saturn. You see them everywhere.
I can't believe how many there
Or
are.
on the road. It is unbelievable. How many hours a day do we work? We work 8 hours.
8 hours on paper. A lot of times it'll end up being a lot more.
Virginia Fuller, just south of the alley.
We work a lot of different hours. As we said, it's based off activity. we'll respond from home if there's a situation that arises that's needed. So we obviously had an afternoon shift now as well, so there's a CAT team all out at all times.
Bravo, 460.
Copy, 5-2.
9-7. Any shift, good afternoon. Good afternoon. 4648.
Is there a witching hour that most carjackings occur?
That's a good question. I can't say.
I can't say for. I mean, it's obviously a crime of opportunity.
Fletcher 51.
What you got?
I think you definitely see them
You got a 29
afternoon.
people?
But yeah, I can't answer that.
No, I didn't.
Be a good question for our intel unit.
It would.
Sounds good to me. 1449.
Would we know how many cars have been stolen in Ramsey County this year? Yeah, we run the report. It's obviously hard to track every department because we all have different report systems. But our intel does a good job at tracking, the vast majority of them. And like I said, during the winter this year, it definitely didn't seem like it slowed down for basic stolen cars. Not like it did last year.
188.
What?
Brody and Dewey left on the SV parking on the street now, but thank you.
Copy that.
When I disregarded it, took the other one first. What was that? 61. You start me on dangerous conditions lane at Stand, and the driver kind of looked like a county car was trying to stop it the next block over going north. I believe it's on Bay. Vehicle's going to be Juliet Tango 0908.
Ramsey County 2775.
2775.
I got that now stopped on Roy. He's just going to get some gas and we'll turn back to the vehicle.
Copy that, 61 copy. Copy. If you can just let him know if you can just push it to the side, we won't have to tow it, but he just left it in the middle lane here.
Go there until Mark.
What's this one?
Gosh.
61 didn't leave you in until they come back. Affirm, it's a huge traffic hazard right now.
Someone asked for advice for anyone looking for a career change in law enforcement. Depending on where you're at, best advice I got was do ride-alongs with a metro area, a suburban agency, and a sheriff's department. Each different department is going to have different aspects to the job that appeal to different individuals, and research the departments you're applying for. Obviously, Minnesota, it's a little easier for me to give advice on that, but first things first, I do ride-alongs, and if you know any cops, get their advice on where you're at. It's definitely a rewarding job. I know we love doing it.
537 Tango.
Really, just get involved any way you can.
We'll be on a PFC 4060.
Whether it's directly with a police department or if it's simply volunteering somewhere. Hiring agencies love to see that kind of thing, the community engagement aspect and all sorts of stuff like that. So really, try and get involved with
2261 Tango.
any particular agency you can, and with volunteer work, and Also, depending on where you're at, the pre-required requisites for getting hired will vary when it comes to your level of education. So, in Minnesota, you are required to have a 2-year college degree. Of course, a bachelor's degree will only help you that much more. So there's a few different colleges out there that offer relatively cheap criminal justice programs and law enforcement degrees. We're looking into those.
Yeah, like you said, there's certain places throughout the country you have to be 18 years old with a driver's license, no significant criminal history, and pass a background, and then they send you to academies.
1453.
Area. This is definitely a cool area of St. Paul. A lot of good food around here.
Hey, Chip. Good afternoon.
Got some campus
Good
life.
afternoon. 1454.
I don't know if you're a fan of the best sushi I've ever had. It's Sakana.
Any seafood that looks like. My wife loves it. Okay. It's not for me. I think the only ones I think I've ever liked were what do they call them? Spider rolls.
4550 cars for a stall block.
Other than
From east. 1455.
we are behind a Kia. It is clear. So safe to say that one is
Just a coincidence.
yeah.
Good morning, Airport 255.
We're buffering. There's not much on our end. We
314.
out of
314.
the bed cell signal.
Any chip there. Afternoon. 1450.
520 minutes from. Hey, for shift, guys, man.
Wow.
Good afternoon. 1456. 656.
Can you shoot that,
Signal is
Good
bad.
afternoon. 1456.
I am trying to watch the stream with you guys. We definitely see the bad buffering. If you can hear us,
621.
I'm trying to drive out of here.
1457.
673, go ahead.
Transport from my location to the LEC, adult female, starting mileage 8.
Copy. 1457.
Any chip, good afternoon. 1457.
3931. I can take the pending call. There's no property damage, actually. It's all like that.
Our Wi-Fi is off. It's just the area.
658, Metro.
So
658.
bear with us when that happens. There's not much we can do on our end.
Yeah, it's really just a cellular service.
1457.
For whatever reason, it's getting choppy on us.
Someone asked if we've ever seen paramedics, firefighters going to law enforcement.
281.
It goes both ways. To skills with for law enforcement. A firefighter is I believe now back into law. I mean, do a full-time agency fighter. That's the way I missed it. You can 4-hour shifts, work some calendar period, but granted, you know, we kind of have a in-house, in-family beef going. My father-in-law and his family are all firefighters. Parkside, and then Maplewood firefighter. So I try to come up with as many good firefighter jokes as I can. As does he towards law enforcement, but all jokes aside, he's my one of my biggest supporters when it comes to my job. He's dealt with a lot of critical incidents. I'm able to go to him. He's an individual I trust and kind of confide in. So it also helped my wife too. She came from a first responder family, and Elise kind of knew what she was. I know that can be a hard aspect on newly married couples. You know, a young individual gets into law enforcement, they quite don't know what to expect, and that can be stressful in a relationship. So I definitely have a strong wife at home who she's feeling the burden of the job. She will tell me. But yeah,
630.
being a firefighter would be fun.
Good afternoon, 1500. 312.
Coming down to
1500.
West 7th here.
583 Metro. 583. I'll be tapped up. 1500.
That was a heck of a road.
1627 Metro. 1627.
We're cruising down here from the fair on that incident that we worked on the stolen vehicle.
Yeah, the carjacked one at the motel.
Yep.
That was
402 night. 1500.
that was interesting call.
It sure was.
Six 12. 612. 10-7. Good night. Good night. 1501. What?
Reported domestic at 1434 Palace. Boyfriend came to the mother's house. Unknown where he is in the house. Comes in the basement. Passed away. This is domestic. Her name is Jaden Brady.
Forever on the search for the chocolate dipped Pearson's nut rolls.
Chocolate dipped?
Oh yeah.
We do not mess with the classic nut roll.
Yes, the classic nut roll is
Great.
but the chocolate dipped ones are phenomenal and they're so rare.
Did I don't know if it was. I thought it was them. They just recently got bought out, didn't they?
I couldn't tell you.
She took his dog. She's locked herself in
Look
the
at this
basement.
Hazelwood call.
She did say,
License reader was suspended a car. Give us something to do.
Yeah. Kind of ways away, but we'll mosey on over.
You ever get a loose tooth? tooth or throat. You're driving those bumpy roads.
Yeah, seems to be a storm.
I will check with the PC.
There.
Tell you what, my back is definitely sore.
5 Fletcher. 10. We put a camera on the panhandler at.
Well, lo and behold, we made ourselves all the way to the more or less southwestern border of our, only to have a potential good call pop up back. We're gonna make our way back.
Echo Juliet Alpha 250.
What is occupied?
All right.
Yeah,
So,
he's trying to pass cars. He's going eastbound on 7th from Birmingham.
Eastbound 7 from Birmingham. Do you want me to...
you guys kind of made St. Paul east. So it's going to be a gray Kia Forte, busted rear window. It might be clear. So it might be an unrecorded.
He's either flying eastbound on 7th or he pulled off somewhere.
So it's going to be an unreported. So you're kind of listening to radio traffic. East had a Kia with busted out window, making attempts to evade.
Metro 4550, cars information on a driving complaint. Last seen eastbound 62 from 35W, described as a white Subaru Ascent.
Is the cross
And
facing
yellow John.
So Birmingham and K, so you're going to be
Description out of Minneapolis.
so Johnson Parkway, 7th, that area. That helps it.
Last seen eastbound, so we're gonna have to try and go quite a ways east to try and cut it off. And with the way these guys drive, he could be in Oakdale or Woodbury by now, truthfully, but we're gonna try. A lot of times they do pull off to side streets and try and evade us and stay in the area, so
7th away per half. So why don't you just take 94? So it's that time of day. Safety tip: when you're driving, they teach you look in your rearview mirror, look in your side mirrors as you're driving. A lot of people just kind of get focused what's in front of them. Helps us as cops. We're law enforcement trying to get somewhere. We want to be as safe as possible when responding somewhere code or lights and sirens. So by you guys paying attention helps us do that.
And another big tip is to not just try not to panic and slam on the brakes.
Yep.
Just do a slow, controlled change of lanes. You know, if you got room to your right, go ahead and move to your right. That's generally what a law enforcement officer is going to try and get you to do.
Northbound lane, bear at Stillwater. Change the run.
Oh goodness.
I'll light it up and turn it off.
Eastbound case.
I'm almost there, Jones. Give me a minute. Alright. He's southbound. Hazelwood. Again, I'm not pursuing. Just been trying to keep visual for the guys.
Southbound Hazelwood from Case, not lighting him up, keeping visual at 1507.
Stillwater.
So lots of St. Paul squads. One of our cat sergeants is over there. Best thing in this situation we can do is try to keep eyes, get some sticks.
Lost visual at Algonquin.
I think you went northbound Algonquin.
So he's going to be in that neighborhood on Buffalo Heath. Headed to the east side on a unreported stolen busted back window Kia that fled from St. Paul.
Right flight is not available.
What's your life? 2750, I'm in the area.
Copy.
Cut up the third and go east.
Mike, can I meet you somewhere? I got a good look at the driver.
It's going to be Echo Juliet Alpha 250. Comes back on a 2020 Kia Forte, gray in color. It's going to be a light-skinned black male driver. Copy.
So they lost eyes, so we're still going to make our way
Again, in the area of Hazel and Case.
towards that call.
Info here at 1509.
Now it's kind of just spreading out and looking for it.
For officers in the area of Birmingham in case.
750. Denver 1509. No response. 335 Edgel, Matt Case in Iroquois.
Yeah, I see him now.
Copy. Did you still up here?
2750, you're looking for me. Mike, just hang out there. I'm going to meet up with you. And no, you can cancel
check
the
that one out.
10-3 if you
I
still have
couldn't
one.
read the back of it.
Copy, canceling the 10-3 at 1510. Mileage 96.
Your incident has been updated. Your incident has been updated.
5284, 5186.
Cut southbound.
Cut down there then.
Squad 364, 337.
364.
Marked burglary in 951 case. There's a live video footage of callers' ex-boyfriend of their sister's trespassing in her home. Her sister just left the address.
364, happy.
So they unfortunately lost that car. Checking the area.
State 510, St. Paul.
State 510, go ahead.
What was the vehicle description that you guys were chasing?
Go right, go right.
Please, Echo Juliet Alpha 250 is going to be a Kia Forte. It's listed as gray in color. It does have a broken window driven by a reflective black metal.
New message.
It's got busted.
459P something H.
Your incident has been updated.
Going towards Johnson. Yeah. Yep, no window.
New message.
Chewbacca, you intact?
New message. New message.
Hey, we're on our way to you. We're over by 1276 Wilson. White Kia Soul, busted out, rear window occupied by two younger
New
males.
message.
It's got no front plate, trying to catch up to it, get a rear plate. Last seen, southbound Johnson from Wilson.
Do you have it?
Yeah, we're right behind it. Try not to spook it. We'll get the plate. We'll keep you posted.
We're getting nowhere on them.
PRH.
188. Could you hear my case number?
New message. New message.
459. Paul Romeo Henry. Going back to a 2014 white
Stop.
Kia Soul.
That kid just get out.
Just go to the car.
You want to grab the kid?
Just dropped one off.
He's fleeing. Let's take the kid.
Looks like a
Northbound Johnson.
Your incident.
vehicle went northbound Johnson. One kid just bailed. 300 Point Douglas
Come here.
Road. $27.59.
2759.
We're at
Point Douglas, 300 Point Douglas. We just had 459.
Paul Romeo
All
Henry.
Henry. Rear busted out, back window, lead northbound Johnson. We're out with the passenger in that vehicle.
Copy.
Your incident has been updated.
Lift the camera if you can.
In 745 on Lake Road, Minnesota. John Frank Henry, 2.
Thomas, is that one stolen?
Hang on.
Description of him?
It's unreported.
Built brown hair, blue Fletcher.
I lost you there. Do you have eyes on that car, or are you still looking?
Negative. That vehicle went northbound Johnson from our location. We're out with a passenger that bailed. 300 block of Point Douglas.
Confirming, is it a stolen, or we don't know?
It's unconfirmed at this point. Busted rear window. It was evading us. So 459 Paul Romeo Henry. Yeah, I was going. Yeah, a white Kia Soul had a busted rear window. We were en route to the other one on the east. So we just have you muted while we're looking into this.
1521.
Obviously, we thought we had what appears to be another unreported passenger bailed. Is an adult. So while we deal with this, you're going to be on mute a little while longer. We'll clear it up and hopefully get back out there. All right, we're going to turn you back around We finished our investigation,
92.
got some info out of possibly who's driving the vehicle. Next step is confirming that that vehicle is actually stolen. And we got some people working on that, but essentially what you saw is we saw a Kia, no front plate. Turned out it had a busted rear window. They were being evasive. Passenger bailed. We decided to grab the passenger because that's our best info as opposed to chase around a car. It's 3:26. Kids are getting off school. And we'll always find that car again. So we got some info to go off of, and we'll work from there.
61. I'll be clear. Big thank you to 686. We can keep around it for no case.
Yeah, by the time we were able to turn around and try and get back on the car, it was already back at the Johnson Parkway and clearly fleeing at a high rate of speed. And with the amount of distance that we had between them, I saw the passenger walking up the hill, and I'm like, let's just grab him. It's a much higher probability of at least getting someone detained, ID'd, and interviewed. Because the chances of us having a successful, I don't even want to call it a vehicle pursuit, or us successfully stopping that vehicle are far lower than us stopping the kid on foot and talking to him. So that's what I opted to go for. And you notice that we didn't end up arresting him. Right now there's some further investigation that needs to be done. We do have him properly identified, so we can always charge people out of custody as long as we have them properly identified later after the fact. So just based off all the totality of the circumstances and what we had at the moment, we opted to let the kid go and carry on with our day and do some follow-up investigation on that vehicle.
What he's involved in is a misdemeanor. It's a citable offense. He's just the passenger. Being an adult, we did properly ID him. We can issue him that ticket in the mail. So resources are better spent going to find the driver, right? We want the felony. We want the guy who actually is driving in possession of that vehicle. So
maybe on the median side. Looks like a red SUV just pulled up in front of it, left shoulder.
we got other cars looking for the one St. Paul spotted, and the one we spotted. So when it rains, it pours. So that was probably confusing. There was two stolen vehicles spotted. Both at this point are unreported. So when I say stolen, based off the circumstances we had suspicions to believe. Busted rear window. The one fled from St. Paul. That was a gray Kia Forte. They lost that one. As we were responding to the area, we spot this white Kia Soul, no front plate.
Back westbound on road.
Is that the car?
306. If it's stolen, it's 6 authorized.
Okay.
Westbound Rose from what?
Well, who is it?
One of it flees when I light it up.
Well, it's not lighted up.
Yep, still authorized. You can stop tickets.
Where?
Alright, someone get off in front of me. We're westbound Rose coming up the forest.
Rose and Forest.
Westbound Rose approaching Forest.
Light it up.
Don't light it up.
Calling a 10-3.
Yep, going westbound through forest.
Yep.
Back that way. So there's another one fleeing.
333 with 2 Corinne male occupants.
And here we go again.
No longer pursuing. It's still going westbound.
So it's our car.
Jones, turn off. I'm right behind you. With my mark. Now, he's still going westbound. It's 6 for you. Let me know where it goes.
St. Paul found that white Kia Soul again.
We're way north.
Yeah, please on
Maryland area.
only that one call from Anoka. On Payne from Maryland. Sorry, on Payne.
Maryland.
12 Kia connected Charles Kirsch.
Northbound Payne from Maryland.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are quite a ways away from this.
Also another one. Blessing going northbound Payne from Maryland. Plate is going to be Minnesota 459, Papa Romeo Hotel. It's going to be back on a white Kia Soul 2014. It's going to be occupied by 2 Corinne males. Info at 1532.
So visual is lost on this vehicle. St. Paul cannot pursue. We probably wouldn't at this time of
Copy,
day
that's
for
for the target address.
stolen vehicle. As I said, we'll find it again. And the vehicle reared its head. And now we just get squads in the area.
And any more cars or crashes themselves?
Eastbound Parkway.
Copy, I will.
So,
Highland Parkway?
Have a partner swing over to that other car that you can stop for. Take that rear end of
so we're gonna head that way. We're kind of out of it, but
I think it hit 2 at Franklin, around that area.
M664, you still have eyes on it?
are you on 3?
Yeah. Or no, I'm on cap for this. Or wrap.
You have it in your ear? Oh, not here.
Should be coming up either Cleveland or Stein.
I think it's Parkway Drive they went east on, which would take them right up to 61.
So they're coming around, so you're going to go up to Maryland, go towards Johnson Parkway. So they're coming around
eastbound.
possibly the lake.
Eastbound, 10-4. Copy.
So that bode well for us.
We'll try to pick it up on the camera.
Send me to 335's call. I'm going to monitor their channel.
Yeah, they said eastbound, he's going to be coming down this way.
445. Clear me, report, and add me to that as well. 153. Last known location? Last time I saw was eastbound Parkway from Payne.
Cut up this way. Either cut
Sorry,
through,
lost my
it
plug
either
in.
cut through Arcade or southbound, but
459.
we at least have to
1535.
give it an option, right? There's so many squads up there at Arcade, so
05, 10-4. Sticks, 1535.
Do we have a common channel for this one?
Yeah, we can set one up. Probably just go to LTAC 1.
Yep.
Alright. So that was the white Kia Soul that we had just 15 minutes earlier. We were out with the passenger,
1535.
aired it to St. Paul. St. Paul located it again. Fortunately lost it again.
Lexington.
As you've seen, we operate under guidelines and certain rules, and safety comes first for all citizens, so not getting successful sticks is going to kind of change how you respond. It's a stolen vehicle, it's a felony, but we don't want anyone hurt over that, so it's tough how you decide to go after them.
Very code for.
But as we said, these basic stolen vehicles, they do pop up again. We do get other chances at them. So with it being school release time, that's in a lot of the mind of a lot of officers.
You could let me know if you got back on camera if they're closed, and let me know that's the camera. 236.
Hopefully keep you with us live a little while longer, at least till this one clears up if it's not spotted again. We got a cavalry of officers looking for this vehicle. So
Your incident has been updated.
Set up under the bridge on the right, under John Island. Will do. 1537. Copy, 5037.
Come out of the fleet check call.
$29.50 Cleveland Avenue North. On a motor vehicle theft. Comps vehicle stolen sometimes for 0830. Minnesota plate November Romeo Echo 079 for a 2014 model year Kia Soul. In its place, there's an additional stolen vehicle. X-Ray Yankee Bravo 940 for a 2017 Hyundai Tucson.
so that vehicle was stolen out of Roseville. So it's that vehicle that we spotted is just being reported stolen right now out of Roseville. Another vehicle was dumped in its place that was stolen.
Roseville's taking a report at Ducky World.
Yeah. And we keep at it, so
That's the 459.
this is how we operate every day. The goal is to get people into custody, so. But you pretty much have the whole East Precinct looking for this car right now. Do me a favor.
Domestic, House 6 Wilson in the lounge.
Go here, turn
Dispute between
right
an
here.
email and
Right.
her
And let's
father of the child.
Your
Medics are being
let's just
requested at
peruse around the high school and see if it's picking someone up. If not, let's go over to Westminster. It obviously went north or south before Arcade, right? Because no officer spotted it at Arcade. So, prime example, you got kids off school buses, so
368 unclear. Cancel 356.
that's why when we vet these cars and box them in, it's the safest route.
356, copy, thank you.
Agreed?
Absolutely.
$1539.
558 Metro.
558.
I didn't see anything matching the description go by me. I'll be 10-8 unless you get more info.
40.
So high probability they ditch this vehicle on a side street and
Did they ever confirm whether they had good sticks or not on that Kia?
I didn't hear good sticks.
Yeah, he confirmed. No sticks. Yeah, thanks, Mike.
So just for area wise, if you guys didn't hear it earlier, we first spotted this vehicle over by Hiring High School. Went to the Wilson Avenue apartments. So it's any guess where it is at this point.
was stolen off of Cleveland. They dumped a different stolen there.
Two, three, four, Tango.
938 Palace Avenue to assist medics. The 54-year-old female that says she fell and hit her head on a table. They're requesting.
So Roger, warrant has been signed.
Two, three, four, Tango, copy. Copy.
Two, 4, 8, cancel, 233.
233 is there.
Your incident has been updated.
Go west.
West?
Yeah.
778.
The one eastbound Parkway. I've never seen it arcades, so it either went north or south.
The first squad that were going after that one, Kia just spoke to the owner. He called 911 about 12 minutes ago to report that vehicle was stolen. His information has been called out.
Park right next to us.
I was going to say Westminster.
10-4.
Yeah.
242.
Twenty-two, 67.
2267.
They're arriving on the welfare check.
We do not have an
Cargo
LPR.
lane.
Everything we do right now is by hand. Running plates.
Let's split the back, 790 Cargo Lane. On a welfare check. Requesting a welfare check on a male who stated he, quote unquote, didn't want to die this way. Subject is Anthony Wagner, born in 63.
$15.43.
1530.
So this is one of those times you just take a chance and you do a poke and a prod in some known areas,
2267.
hoping you get lucky. But as we said, obviously they didn't dump it the first time. Sounds like they picked up another kid,
Oh, 53.
so that means they're still using it.
523 in the driveway. Those are right about.
You see these little ones running around on the sidewalks and excited for their parents to get home and stuff. It is probably the least ideal time to be
Copy.
chasing these stolens around.
Sticks are our number one friend
Edward
or
Evans, Charlie 5.
element of surprise. Trying to do a vehicle, a VIT,
53.
or for you guys, we box it in. We use our squads to prevent a pursuit. So.
For one the lanes north on 252 to east on 610.
345 to lose.
1544.
664.
10-6 with a hit run. You can find that person hit run, please.
10-4. 1544.
Well, went from nothing to trying to juggle
Yeah.
a few things.
2 Metro.
281.
10-6. I will be on the left if the next car can take the right.
558 copy.
So we'll hold on a couple more minutes longer with you guys, and then we'll probably end it. Say our goodbyes.
1545.
Fingers crossed someone will spot it and we can get back into the action.
22 EOT.
Oh.
615 Metro.
615.
I'll be 10-6. Looks like county, sir.
10 for 1547.
It looks like a St. Paul squad had the same exact idea that we had.
656. RE6 exchange info. Okay, 10-8. 10-4, 1547.
Check those ones too.
You'd be shocked to find out that even though these offenders like know a vehicle is hot, so to speak, and that we put eyes on them in it, a lot of times they still don't dump them. They'll continue to use them because they're that brazen. And
vehicle that I'm supporting stolen has been fleeing from the Eastern District of St. Paul for the last hour.
Yes, yes, it has.
Come in. I'll be recording shortly. 53.
So I think we're gonna end it here. We haven't come up with anything. Again, you were riding with Thomas and Kyle with the CAT team. We thank you for riding with us. Sorry we weren't able to locate it, but odds are hopefully it pops up here as soon as we end. That'd be great. So we are going to end it here shortly.
Getting around for the broken park animal.
Want to say your goodbyes?
yeah, always a pleasure, backseaters. I'm sure I'll be back with you guys here in the very near future, and I look forward to that. Until then, take care, be safe, stay warm.